We have Andrew Wilson from the Crucible, which is this half-baked sort of debate show, and then, of course, Cenk from TYT. Let's see how ridiculous this whole thing gets.
Well, gee, I never thought about that. I didn't know that we were supposed to go through a process of law for these things, which is exactly what Trump is doing via his executive order, which then hopefully will get it in front of the Supreme Court, which looks like that's what the plan is.
That's part of the legal process.
By the way, just so you know, the interpretation of this, that's what we're really talking about, is the interpretation. Ultimately here, it is not, and you need to agree with me on this, it is not in the spirit that you can come in and have a child here and anchor yourself to the child specifically so that you have some pathway or motivation to citizenship. You say it's not a part of the legal process. Yes, these challenges, getting in front of the Supreme Court, getting in front of various courts, is part of the process. It's been done this way time and time and time again. Also, I reject categorically what you said, just lied to the audience. You called Trump bunker boy, right? He was going down to the bunker during the protest to inspect it. Ha, 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 right? You didn't care at all. You weren't denouncing political violence. You weren't denouncing these people getting beat up. You didn't care when the violence is on your side like a typical Democrat. You don't care at all, Cenk. You don't care. And you've never cared. The only reason you care now is because you want to kiss.
And I condemn it every time people do violence. Literally every time.
I'll say snake. But the thing is, Snake, is that you're just trying to kiss the right wing's ass now to get back in with them because the left has categorically rejected you, and that's what's actually happening.
Cenk, is that what's happening?
All right, you amuse me. Yeah, this guy amuses me. So, like, you think calling me Snake is going to somehow win you the debate? Good luck with that childish.
I already won the debate.
Way of going. Oh, you did because you said it. Okay, that, by the way, another great debating tactic. Just saying you won. And second of all, we have 27 million. How many times do I have to say this? 27 million subscribers, 30 billion lifetime views. You're a pimple on my ass. I literally don't even know who you are. So you come in here talking about audience? And you're a snake. Okay, you're a turtle. You're a scorpion. Audience. Whatever. Do I win now?
I didn't say anything about audience. What are you talking about? Are you a lunatic?
You did. You just said, oh, yeah, the left wing's audience has got a problem with it.
I said you lied to your audience. You're trying to cozy up with right-wingers. What were you doing at TPUSA, Cenk? Trying to cozy in with right-wingers like Charlie Kirk, kissing their ass. You're literally kissing up to them because you want in good, because the left is rejecting center-left policies now. That's what's happening.
Hey, brother,
they either want to go far left or far right.
Okay, listen, brother. As you see me bitch slapping you right here on national airwaves.
The only thing you can bitch slap.
What part of that seems like cozying up? What's the part of that seems like cozying up to the right? I think you're an idiot. I think you love that coup on January 6th. I think you hate our democracy. I think you hate our Constitution. So what part of that is cozying up to the right wing? Bitch?
I hate snakes like you who try to get in as good as you can with a weak right like Charlie Kirk when you have weaponized political violence yourself.
Oh, Charlie Kirk is weak right and you're strong right.
At the same time, at the same time, you say, wait a second. Oh, I can't believe the J6ers coup d'etat. You didn't give a damn. You've never given a damn. We have your words on record. You flip-flop. You're the biggest flip-flopper on the left. You're known for it. People make fun of you for it because you move positions. You and Anna Kasparian both move positions like a two.
And you have bad breath, and you never pay your child support, and you walk funny, and your mom was a whore. This isn't. This is entertainment, as you know. This isn't. This is what political discourse is dressed up as, or news is dressed up as, where we're trying to be informed by this somehow about the issues or the topics and stuff, and trying to see so. But no, this is like the closest we can get to an academic debate between two guys, are two personalities and two talking heads. This is grade A bread and circuses stuff. This is just entertainment for entertainment's sake. Let me see a little bit more.
Oh, Trump! I love Trump! Oh, I love Trump so much.
And all you care about is Trump derangement syndrome. All you have is Trump derangement syndrome.
All right, let me try.
TDS, always on display.
But wait a minute.
Time out.
Wait, hold on. I gotta say one thing.
You
Piers,
both
I gotta
made
say
your
one thing.
feelings clear.
How could you say that I'm cozying up to the right and say I have Trump derangement syndrome?
All right.
Make up your mind. You're a very poor thinker.
We watched the entirety of his entire first term. You were Russia. He's a colluder. He's evil. He's this and that. And he flip-flopped on that position the second it was politically expedient.
Okay. Let me try and...
None of those things are true.
Let me try and move on to... Guys, let's move on to some policy debate. Andrew, let me ask you, do you feel...
Yeah, this is not very exciting, but this is an example of this guy here grifting as hard as he can, trying to win with rhetoric. Rhetoric is the art of trying to get people to believe you, not necessarily trying to search for any kind of truth or understanding. Yeah, disgusting, bitter guy who's, if he dresses up black and slicks his hair back, maybe he can make a few dollars regurgitating right-wing propaganda. Cenk also will do just about anything he can do. But let's talk about the law that was passed. So the recent executive order that attempted to end the birthright citizenship, that's what he was talking about before. The order directly contradicts the 14th Amendment of the U.S., which Constitution, which said, basically is interpreted to say, to grant citizenship to any children born on U.S. soil. So there's already been 22 lawsuits filed by advocacy groups, individuals, saying it's unconstitutional. You have a lot of judicial opposition. You got federal judges already describing it as unconstitutional. Yeah, I don't really care about the little moving parts and pieces of this. I think this is ultimately just another dog whistle to make people feel better about migration. Because if they painted up migration to be the big problem of the century, then of course this would be some kind of symbolic gesture towards, well, then people won't come over here and like have a child on purpose so that they can get citizenship. Same with the voting fraud. It's like, yeah, it's a clever idea to get a bunch of fake people to vote for you, but then again, this just never happened because the system is a bit too complex and that would take too much of a concerted effort. That we know of, but that's neither here nor there. Don't want to get into it with anybody out there. Gee whiz. Yeah, newborns born in the United States. It's uncertain how this is all going to play out, but ultimately not really important. The other thing is that the liberal media actually went bananas with the idea that, Trump is shutting down all these regulatory agencies. Well, this was not necessarily the big emergency that it seemed to be. It was extended for a period of time that was longer than normal, but generally when transition teams happen, all regulatory bodies and scientific bodies get put on hold for some amount of time and then resume once they know what they're supposed to be doing. The other thing that I wanted to point out about what this guy, Andrew Wilson, said, who is just a slimy, chain-smoking, like bitter old loser. He said that the BLM was burning down cities. Oh, they were burning the cities down. This is something you commonly hear spread around, the BLM riots, even by what I saw on the news, which was cherry-picked, was very tame comparatively. Like people go and damage some storefronts or some corporate buildings and damage some public property or whatever. I got to say, I don't shock easily, and I don't care. I don't care about public property. If most of these suburban, white, scared, insecure fucking people had their way, they would execute poor people. Just Yeah, just they would sign a little waiver and say, yeah, we're just going to catapult them into a volcano. Don't worry about it. It's all taken care of. People would sign that thing lickety split. They are, look at what happened when Jordan Neely, that whole incident on the train happened. Oh, a homeless guy is hungry and he's screaming about it and he's making people uncomfortable. Well, that's a capital crime, right? That's worse than murder, making people uncomfortable. We need to execute this guy. No trial, no jury. Execute this guy right away. That's America. That's where you're at. That's where you're going. And it's these pale, pasty, chain-smoking, white, bitter, divorced, old, goatee-having, black-wearing, wannabe podcasting bumpkin motherfuckers who needs to have an opinion. Have an opinion and tout it out. It reminds me of the Ian Miles Chong. He's somebody who is probably just doing it because he likes what it feels like controlling people's emotions, to troll somebody else or to play the opposition or the devil's advocate, just to get under somebody's skin. Hey, it's fun. It's good work if you can get it. If you piss off the right people, hey. An overwhelming peacefulness, according to the comprehensive study by the Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project. Over 93% of BLM protests between May 26 and August 22nd in 2020 were peaceful. Out of more than 7,750 BLM demonstrations analyzed across 50 states, over 2,400 locations reported peaceful protests. Fewer than 220 locations reported violent demonstrations, which included a broad range of activities from property damage to clashes with police. None of this matters, you see, because suburbans, people, bumpkins and such, the people who are more likely to be conservative for whatever reason, that would reiterate these claims like, oh, BLM, they're riots, they're burning the cities down. They want that to be true. And they want these people they consider undesirable that have been told that they're a threat. And that's the problem too, guys, is that, look, they put all the enemies of the state on blast. So Black Lives Matter, definitely something that had communist overtones, because what it did was advocate for minority groups and oppressed peoples. And anytime you have a real leftist movement like that, tends to be bad. So in that case, you had CNN on the left side of the spectrum, all the way over to the right side of the spectrum, totally exaggerating what was happening. And that's on purpose. As we all know, in a capitalist society, they cannot let any real, true leftist movements gain any foothold, because that would be detrimental to the economy and the hierarchy that exists. In cities where protests did turn violent, the incidents were largely confined to specific blocks rather than widespread. So, little damage here, little damage there. Some people get roughed up. It wasn't until some right-wing conservative kid from Wisconsin traveled over the state border with a gun and shot somebody. You guys know Kyle Rittenhouse. One of the only violent things that happened in these protests was actually a right-wing guy who decided to shoot somebody. Same in Charlottesville. It was peaceful until a guy drove his car through that. Now, I'd be preaching to the choir if I said, look, folks, it seems as though there's a pattern emerging with conservative people, conservative men in general, and an intolerance to hearing about other people's grievances. Essentially, a bunch of guys that aren't team players who the minute that we try to speak out about injustice, they try to run us over with cars or kill us with AK-47s. White insecurity, like it's always been. Why did the Catholic Church kill all those indigenous children 150 years ago? The same reason we're killing them now is because we're white and we're scared. Just say it, folks. Just say it. I'm white and I'm scared. These people, they're scared. I get it. So literally the CNN comes on and says, oh, they're rioting because the black guy shot a cop. And they go, oh, yeah, well, what was the black guy doing? I'm sure he was doing something wrong. Not ever questioning extrajudicial killing as being anti-constitutional or whatever, doesn't matter. What matters is you always listen to police, and police are always right. Doesn't necessarily, it's not really always about race, although many Americans are racist by default. And most human beings are racist by default, but it's more about being sycophantic, where suburban people just think, hey, follow the rules and you won't have any troubles. And this is something I'll never understand. I'll never understand this mentality. Follow the rules and you won't have any troubles. Yeah, you can tell that to the Jews who followed all the rules, but then slowly got careened into a smaller and smaller corner. Tell that to the Palestinians who are currently told, you just go right over here to this refugee tent and you'll be okay. Follow directions. And then they drop a fucking bomb on it. Your enemies don't want you to succeed. And if they give you advice on what to do and how to act, it's not a good sign. I don't go out for authority. Not a big fan. I like people who have knowledge, and I like systems that work. But I don't like coercion, and I don't like authority, because authority is something that needs to be earned, not to be doled out to anybody who has enough money or power. The U.S. Crisis Monitor found that 94% of BLM demonstrations were nonviolent and non-destructive, compared to 86% of the right-wing protests in the same period. A Pew survey indicated that BLM protests became more peaceful over time. Between May and June, 89% of the demonstrations were nonviolent. So far from actually burning any cities to the ground, this individual is exaggerating for entertainment purposes, I'm guessing.